Welcome everyone to another episode of 302 of a Kind. Thanks so much for joining myself and the awesome Kevin Indig. Welcome.
Happy Friday, Marcus.
Friday.
Marcus, happy birthday. I had to say it. It's not today. Happy belated birthday. How was it?
That was awesome, but already almost a week ago. So I'm already a week older. So yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Had a crazy good celebration. Thanks for asking. Yeah, you guys did the right decision to join us because we have a lot of topics to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that happened. And yeah, we want to get straight to the news. Cafe Meow is already here, 404. She says that it would be better to call ourselves 404 instead of 302s because we are too chaotic person. It's hard to translate from German. I don't know, but reason to be funny. Thank you very much. If you also want to comment, please do so. You can see us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on wherever. Just drop a something in the comments. We actually promote every comment, even the ones we don't like. So use this and definitely use it to discuss all these topics with us together. So we are a very interactive show. So yeah, just feel free to chime in and let us know what you think about what we're talking about. We got great SEOs joining in. We got Philip Götzer from Wingman. Greetings from Bielefeld. Yeah, that really exists. You can trust me on that. I've actually been there before. I've been to Bielefeld. Actually did an SEO workshop. It was an online marketing workshop back in the days, and this was in 2001. So in 2001, SEO workshop in Bielefeld.
Can you prove it?
Now Philip is there.
Can you prove it? Do you have written proof?
I actually do. Yeah, I actually have this. I have it on the internet actually. Also, as it can be found. It was homepage and e-commerce. That was the name of the. I mean, again, SEO wasn't a big topic back then, right? It was about generally how do I start a website, how do I promote it, and obviously SEO played a little part in it. But it was so easy that it wasn't really, I don't need a whole day to tell you how SEO, just put some white font and white background, and this will work out just fine. Yeah. Don't do this anymore, kids.
Maybe for LMs now it works actually.
Yeah, it actually does. Yeah, that's true. So we're right back there. So he's hungry and he needs to buy groceries. It's good. I mean, the New York Times wrote about Bielefeld this year and even republished the article. Wow, I didn't even know that. What did they write about Bielefeld?
The New York Times writes about a lot of things. Not all of those are facts. Okay, I just want to say I'm not sure that supports your point, Philip.
Yeah, but support the New York Times. Great newspaper. We got Olaf Kopp. Yes, thank you, Olaf. Great you're being here. Really, our new patents guy in the SEO community. Thank you, Olaf, for your service. Always doing a good job reviewing patents and letting us know what's new in the search world. We got Roy, another fantastic, great SEO from the Netherlands. Hey, Roy, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a long time. That's really great you join us here. And talking about an old SEO friend, and he's not old, but he's an old SEO friend. We got Joe Sinkwitz in here. Hi, guys. Hope you're both doing well. We're doing incredibly well. Joe, it's so great to see you. Haven't seen you in such a long time.
The lineup today is just, I mean, it's always great, but the guests right now, man, we have some top-notch circle here. I mean, to be in a room with all these people, you'll pay a lot of money at other conferences if you can get them at all.
But we are not actually in a room together. Not even we are in a room together. So
you
don't need to pay anything, right? We got Daniel Moll joining us. You have talked about Bielefeld on Webmasters on the Roof. That's right. Webmasters on the Roof, our old SEO show, formerly on webmasterradio.fm. Yeah, that's a long time ago. And rest in peace, Friday night. Yeah, without Friday, it doesn't make much sense. And Philip said, the title was At an Uncertain Moment for Germany. Suddenly boring doesn't look so bad. Okay.
What should we make of that?
Yeah, creative ChatGPT title. I love it. And yeah, and Roy has actually been on that roof. That's actually true. He has been on Friday night's roof. that, oh man, dude, it's so long ago. That's like over 15 years ago. Crazy times. But so great you guys are joining us, because again, we want to talk about a lot of exciting things that had happened throughout the week. And let me share my screen so we can get started. The first one, obviously, is the core update. We got to talk about the core update. Last week we talked about it, but it just finished. We didn't have any data, so we didn't really know a lot about what has actually happened. We were waiting for the data providers to share their knowledge with us. And yeah, there it is. On Search Engine Land, we find a lot of data providers sharing their data with them. We got SimilarWeb, we got Systrix, we got SEMrush, and I want to point this out real quick. I really like the SEMrush sensor because it gives you a sense on how much volatility you actually have in the SERPs on any given day, and you can filter it down by country, also by specific SERP features and that kind of stuff. So that's really helpful. And what is interesting is that the SERP volatility, has actually, been higher after the update has been rolled out, and this is quite astonishing. And what do you make of this?
Yeah, it's most core updates. They show the results within days, even though Google says, it's still rolling out, but most of the time they show the results early on. This one is different, so that's more of an outlier. And I've seen this before. I don't remember which core update it was, but I've seen it before where you saw a big change in the beginning and at the end of the update. And it shows you how different systems are updated within the same bigger core update, right? So we know, for example, that the helpful content classifier is part of the core update. We know that the old Panda algorithm is part of the core update, right?
Review systems also part of the core.
Yes, exactly. So they all update at sometimes different times, and I think it's worth looking at who's affected by the third wave of changes, second and third wave of changes. But I've not seen it often that you see volatility and tremors after the update. That's new to me as well.
And what SEMrush also found is that it has been a more massive update than the last core update, and not just that, but it has really something which is unique to this specific core update. And this is the interesting stat here, because they do a comparison about the top 10 results, as how many of the URLs have not previously ranked in the top 20. And you can see in the March 2025 update, it was about 10%, and the June 2025 update, it's a staggering 16.47%. So a lot of URLs, so over 16% of URLs which have previously never ranked in the top 10, never ranked in the top 20, all of a sudden ranking in the top 10. And this is actually pretty massive, and we haven't seen this before. And this, it says it right here, that's the biggest number of that in 4 years since SEMrush began tracking these specific metrics. That's really interesting. What do you make of this?
It's definitely a big one. And so I have a client that has seen a massive uptick in top 3 ranks. So, I mean, like, we're trending towards double as many, and it's already a big site and a big brand. And the crazy thing is that it just doesn't reflect in traffic. And the reason is,
well, there's still an AI overview above it, right? I mean, oh, look at that, we moved into the top 3. Yeah, let's
exactly
expand that AI overview for you.
That's exactly the point, right? Yeah. Like, you don't see it reflected in traffic because of the AI overview. And that begs the question, how important are these updates anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So besides just measuring how the classic search results changed, I'd be very curious about, can we see a change in AIO citations? Are we seeing different domains visible now in AIOs? And how much does it even matter, right? Like, I'm not going to jump ahead, but I think there's a question that will come back later. And so again, like, do core updates still matter? Maybe because Google picks the citations usually by the results that rank higher, usually, but not exclusively. And so if that's, that's the last reason for why you should still care about core updates. Unless we're talking about keywords that don't show AI overviews. But my theory is that is actually that's a growingly smaller number.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had the same case with a also very large brand, very large client. I actually did a very comprehensive SEO audit for, and obviously also I dug into the core update impact, which was pretty interesting because they also gained, also like on paper, right? It was like a successful core update for them. But what actually happened is that a lot of the top queries actually now have an OA overview above it, and you can really see this. So this is so interesting because you can see this drop, right? And you would think, oh, clear core update. This is, let me analyze this. And what I actually analyzed was like, oh my God, that core update impact was actually very good, but this can basically on top of it. And this is like, I've never had that before, right? Because normally it's like you have a core update. It's like, it's so easy to analyze, but these days you can't analyze it so easy anymore because there's just so much more stuff that you have to factor into it. And it's a pain because you say, hey, you did a great job, well done, but yeah, you still have 35% less traffic.
If you're lucky. Yeah. It's more like a temperature check for how much Google likes your site rather than an indicator for how much traffic you might get. And so the challenge here is that when you analyze core updates now, you need to also look at which of your keywords and topics now show AI overviews, and then factor that into your analysis. So it's definitely not a big traffic impact anymore. And again, like I think is like when Google updates their Gemini models, like they just recently did, right? In March, Google updated the Gemini model that drives AI overviews to Gemini 2.5. Sundar Pichai said that on the earnings call. What was it, 2 nights ago? That has a much bigger impact on all the websites, right? So here we go. See, I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead. I'm being quiet.
Don't do that. Still talking about core. And I got a couple more articles about core. There's good articles coming out about the core update. We got Glenn Gabe obviously chiming in. We already have a lot of data from him because he was literally tracking these HCU losers, so sites that were affected by the last helpful content update. And there's actually a couple of them that were able to, impressively climb back. So now all of a sudden, Google thinks they are helpful. Yay! So what we were talking about when Google was saying, "Hey, you don't do anything wrong. This is our problem. We need to do it." It's like, oh, finally, thank you very much. Yeah. That's really cool. But as you just said, they also probably updated the HCU classifier, and therefore you have a couple of these sites which formerly got sort of held back by that specific classifier are now basically being released in the public again and they're free to rank again. And this is exactly what we're seeing here. Obviously not all of them. I think it was still at about 20%. And he dives very deeply into this. And also what you previously mentioned, these during the update, going up, going down, you can really see specific systems getting updated within the core. And therefore you see different parts moving, so to speak. Yeah.
What's super interesting is, like there's obviously a lot of changes during the core update. I have this former client who texted me like, "Oh man, we lost so many ranks during the core update," and then a day later it was like, "Oh nope, never mind. Actually, we went back up." And so obviously there's something as being too early to analyzing your core updates. Not just because your ranks might change, but also because your competitors' ranks might change, which has an impact on you. And then the other curious case is when you look at domains, this is always how we can understand if Google updates a domain quality score or something else. So I have a client that has the same domain, but with a different top level domain. So they have x.com, it's not x, but they have x.com and x.com.au and x.uk, etc. And they all show the same trend, but they have slightly different content. And that's how we can see that, this is much more a like brand quality association type of impact rather than like a pure content quality or spam or or helpful content type of system.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. By the way, I just want to say what he is basically as a summary. As he also said, it's red hot, broad core algorithm update, huge volatility, and very interesting. He predicts moving forward, I do believe we'll see another core update or two in the fall. So basically, if you've been negatively impacted, don't worry. This might still go up at the end of the year. Very interesting, because we got promised a lot of core updates. Right now, we got only two. So I think two more core updates is a good guess. I guess. What do you think? How many more core updates are we going to see this year?
Well, you can do the math. Usually, to your point, right? Google launches between 8 and 10 updates a year. Bigger updates, yes, they launch thousands every day. I know. But between 8 and 10 every year, bigger ones. And we spend about half of the year, so about 180 days, with updates running out. And as to your point, right? Like, we haven't seen a lot of updates. So I wouldn't be shocked to see another one in August. Another one October, November, December. So probably at least 3 to 4
That's
more.
A lot. That's a lot.
I could always be wrong, but yeah, Google updates their systems all the time.
Right on. By the way, we got Torsten Lettersek joining us. Hey, Torsten, great you're here. Great coupons SEO. It does a great job with coupon SEO. One of the toughest spaces, to query in, I guess, as an SEO. So Torsten does an incredible good job here for over a decade. Well done. Great you're here. We got more people talking about the core update. We also got Mary Haynes analyzing pages that improved following the June 2025 core update. And this is actually quite interesting. I don't want to dive any deeper into it, but how she does that. I mean, super smart SEO, obviously, Mary. Very experienced also with update analysis. And she takes a look at specific sites. And what she does is she asks Gemini, right? So she has a very good Gemini prompt that she basically asks Gemini, hey, how can I make this better? Or how do you see this site? How do you see why this page might be seen as helpful or might not be seen as helpful? And I think this is a pretty smart approach that she's doing here. You might also want to copy. And she does this for several sites here, and like only shares her prompts and as well as the output. And this is a very, very smart approach. And you can also see it working due to the fact that she actually, did some of the things that Gemini was suggesting to her. And look at that, it worked. And it got a nice lift up in the last core update. So I think this is a very smart approach by Mary. And this is why I want to just also give you this article to maybe dive a little bit deeper into, because maybe you can use the same prompts, or at least like the same technique that Mary is using here.
It's a great one. I don't know if you use those kind of an AI analysis, but something that I like to do is to use Gemini, because Gemini can actually crawl a page and renders JavaScript pretty well. So I've built myself like a analysis of the quality rater guidelines, and then I'll often let it run over specific pages in comparison to competitor pages. And of course, you have to be super careful, right? Like it will get things wrong, but it often points at things that are not super obvious, that are very subtle, and that you might miss as a human. Like content has a different focus, or landing pages have a very different focus, talk to a slightly different audience, and that subtle nuance matters. So I love Mary's approach here. He's obviously super smart.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about smart SEOs, we got Hans Cronenberg joining us here. Good morning, Hans. Great you're here with us. Hans, one of the best SEOs we have here in Germany, actually running the SEO on chefkoch.de, one of the largest sites in Germany. And he's doing an incredible job over there. Great you found time to listen to us today. And last but not least, we also got Aleda, who also has some findings from the core update. All through the board, from e-commerce, SaaS, and this is interesting. For e-commerce, she sees a lot of the like highly specialized niche shops actually gaining visibilities, and I can also see this in Germany for specific things. For example, if you take the what are they called? Like Obi Bauhaus, like they're
like hardware
stores. Thank you very much. hardware stores. So you got hardware stores, and formerly, if you were like looking like for fencing or like to keep the sun off your head, kind of sun
umbrella, sunblocker.
No sunblocker. That do you go to that hardware store to buy sunblocker? Now you buy this thing and build this thing where you can like sit in the shade beneath it.
I'm not sure what
both
you.
not native English speakers, as you can hear. So sunroof kind of thing I want to build.
Sunroof sounds good.
Okay, let's take a sunroof. And I've watched especially these kind of queries where you would formerly have like all the big hardware stores, all the big hardware chains, of course, big brands, right? You saw all the big brands basically ranking in the top 10, and all of a sudden you only see one of these general retailers, maybe two, and then you have like highly specialized, like a fencing shop two, also like really specialized shops just for this. So, and this is something I've seen throughout the last year. And so this is definitely something I have seen as well, and a very good observation here by Aleda, and also quite interesting with the SAS niche, that you also have big players which are decreasing in rankings and visibility for topics they're not really specialized in, right? But they have the typical landing pages. They're doing basically trying to fan out by themselves, trying to find where the use cases, where my software might be useful, right? That kind of stuff. We all played this game, and you also see the same thing, basically them like, oh, this is not your primary area of expertise, right? And this is why I'm basically demoting you from here. So this is what I also saw across the board for various software as a service companies. It's also some very, very interesting findings regarding the core update. So I think to conclude, huge update. A lot of stuff has happened again, and now it's after the update is before the update. So, and as you said, we're gonna have a lot more this year. So you better keep on your toes and start winning. By the way, also want to say hi to David Kornitsky. David, great you're here. We had a great live hacking session with him in our German Daily Dose of SEO show. Great guy. Thanks you're here. All right, let's move on from the core update and talk about our second topic of the day, which is WebGuide, an experimental AI-organized search results page that came out yesterday. And I was like, what? Yeah. I mean, like, this is such a smart idea to basically say, we're going to try something completely different, right? We're going to move away from the 10 blue links and we're going to put AI overview on top. Well, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We're basically going to do sort of like, they say intelligently organized the search results page. But it's really about like already like a query fan out, sort of. Basically having different topics and basically clustering it also under each other. I really suck at speaking English today. I'm really sorry about that.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay. It feels like I'm blah, blah, blah.
No, you're good.
Don't say actual words, but okay. Thank you very much. So what was your impression when you saw that yesterday?
Yeah, it's interesting because Google already showed or announced something like that at Google I/O last year when they first showed AI overviews. And I think like they looked a little different back then. And now it seems like they're testing that live in labs. To me, the question is like, why, how does this make sense, right? You have AI overviews, which is a summary of the search results, and you have AI mode, which is a conversational search experience, if you will. It's basically ChatGPT just in a Google wrapper. And so now, how does WebGuide make sense now? Like, what's the thing that it needs? And I think it is personalized search, right? We know that AIO mode will be personalized to some degree. It seems like WebGuide is super personalized. And I want to give a big shout out to Andrea Volpini, the founder of WordLift, Andrea posted. I just saw that before the show started, so I didn't send.
I saw
share
that
it
as
with you.
well. I actually wanted to pull it in. Oh my god, yeah, I saw this as well. But I was like, oh my, we're probably drifting too far apart because we've got so much stuff to cover. But this is super interesting. Yeah, please continue. Yeah,
totally, man, totally. So Andrea took some time to look under the hood. There's a great LinkedIn post that I'll figure out how to share in our show notes. And I'm not going to spend too much time on everything because it's super rich. But
yeah.
one piece that stood out to me is that he said personalization is the core engine. And he said that specifically fanning out. So when Gemini takes your prompt and turns it into different queries, so this fan out process is highly personalized, right? It's based on search history and interest and all that kind of stuff, location, maybe device. And so that seems to be much more pronounced than for AI mode. And so I think this is Google's attempt to completely personalize the search results, which they didn't do in the past because people, they didn't have enough context and information, so they were never able to personalize it truly. That is different. That is totally personalized, and I think that's why it makes sense in this product portfolio of Google Search.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like there's still so much value in personalization. As you just said, we always, as CEOs, we always talk about personalization, blah, 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 but there's very little personalization happening unless like really, also I have like really context from you, like where are you right now, or like previous searches or stuff like this. But it's very minimal, right?
Yeah.
And we always expected this, because obviously this is a lot of compute, right? Like over, this is like the result, and then I'm like over the top give you like a either make a more personalized thing out of it. That's a lot of compute, right? So this is maybe the reason why we haven't seen this yet in general organic search. But this is a good point, and I think Andrea I really is onto something here, that this might really just be, this is not just a new SERP layout we're giving to you. This is more like a outline where we can like really get personalized information connected to your search query, to your search intent, and really trying to give you the best possible info that you're looking for. Very, very interesting point. So we're definitely gonna take a close look here. What's happening with this currently lab experiment. By the way, Roy's saying, I think it's more like the thinking within Gemini. I really like this idea. It's supposed to be like it's thinking, what could be interesting if you're searching for, in this case, how to go solo travel in Japan, right? What could be interesting for you? What could be necessary for you? So very good comment here from Roy, and also David. Outcome is like back in the days with the featured snippet testing. Pretty interesting. Yeah, definitely. It's always interesting, right? When we have totally new SERP layouts, we learn so much. And I'm just like, dude, is that traffic? Does it have an UTM source parameter attached to it, so we can like, oh, look at this is coming from no, you don't expect that.
No. Maybe in 2030 we get a search console filter.
2030, nice. Yeah.
Like the discussion. Isn't it funny how many things the search console team is working on that nobody wants?
But they also work on a lot of stuff that we actually want. I really want to give a shout out to the search console. I mean, like really. They're doing such an incredible job. We get so much data. It's so existential for our jobs, right? So I don't want to badmouth them too much. And
could be better, but it's not bad.
But nevertheless, still search appearance type, AI overviews, AI mode. Just putting it out there. If you have time, just
get us the filter already.
Yeah, that's it. Right on. Let's talk about a couple more topics. This has, in Germany we say Sprengstoff, right? This is really the potential
dynamite.
Yeah, this is real dynamite. There's a Pew research. Search is less likely to click on links in Google search with AI overviews present. Come on, it's crazy, right? And they did this, and you could see when there's no AI summary, right? They get a lot more clicks from the SERPs, and it's really just 1%. That's not a lot. I mean, like, this is not like, oh, this is so unexpected. This is very expected to see this in a study, but nevertheless, it's even worse than expected. Or what would you say?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is important because there's still the narrative that being visible in AI overviews can get you some clicks back, but there's no clicks. 1% is nothing, right? 1% of users clicked on citations or sources in AI overviews. So right now, the way at least that they're presented, it doesn't matter, right? Like I know we were all excited when Google highlighted citations more. And I think the only reason really is because people see the citation and trust the brand, but they don't click on it. So not good, right? I think that's why I put AI overviews in the same bucket as ChatGPT or AI mode, where people generally don't click, but they're being obviously influenced by the answer, right? And so this is another, another point for the argument that we're moving more towards an influence world and not to this linear conversion world where you get clicks and some of these clicks convert to users. That whole click funnel is melting.
Okay, let's look what Google says. I actually think I'm going to promote something I'm going to do later to right now. Let's see what Google says. I mean, like, obviously for Google, this is like, oh my God, we got to say something. And what are they saying? This is the following statement. People are gravitating to AI-powered experience, obviously. And AI features in search enable people to ask even more questions, creating new opportunities for people to connect with websites. This study uses a flawed methodology and skewed query set that is not representative of search traffic. We consistently direct billions of clicks to websites daily and have not observed significant drops in aggregate web traffic as it being suggested. By the way, put your money where your mouth is. Where's the data? Just saying it again.
Yeah.
We don't get the data. I mean, like, really, we could. This is like Trump getting rid of the Epstein files debacle, but just saying, hey, let's just release it. I'm going to show you. I'm not in there. It's really boring. Here you go. Right. But saying, oh, no, it's boring, but forget about it. These are not the files you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, right. And Obama is stupid. What? Right. I mean, like, this is the same thing, right? You could also just say, hey, here's the data. Here's the data. You can see that. You can see it in your Google Search Console. Look at that, right? But we don't get the data. We just get words.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, I want to take apart this statement for a second. So first of all, right, when they say that people are gravitating toward AI-powered experiences, they're right and they're wrong. Absolutely. They're right because obviously people like AI chatbots. It's a better experience to get the answer right away. I also think that's a better experience, even though I want traffic, right? So that's where they're right. However, at the same time, they are always in the earnings calls saying, oh, AI Overviews has 2 billion monthly users now. But the only reason is because they show it in the search results. It's not because users are asking for it. It's because Google shows it, right? So that's where I'm like torn. But where I'm not torn at all is the last part of the statement, where they say we have not observed significant drops in aggregate web traffic as is being suggested. Now, if you include brand keywords in that statistics, no wonder, right? No wonder that traffic.
It's also exactly. Billions of clicks to websites. It doesn't say organic. It also could be ads or whatever, right? I mean, like, right, we're still making money. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. Money is actually up, and there was we'll talk about that in the earnings call, but there was actually like a very, very, very interesting response from Phil Schindler, the COO of Google, or Alphabet, better said, about a question I want to come back to. But they are obviously intentionally phrasing this like nothing is happening. And on the other side, you have literally every webmaster in the world saying, what WTF is going on here?
By the way, Philip Schindler, I just want to give a shout out. If you want to search a media, Adonis at PubCon 2005. There's a funny scene with Philip Schindler. I know it's 20 years ago. I was at PubCon and I did a little video, and there's a very interesting theme with Philip Schindler. I'm not going to spill it because it's just for the SEO aficionados out there. By the way, Rüdiger is saying also, because he was said they work a lot on things. The GC team works a lot on things we don't ask for, and Rüdiger calls them out. Come on, who didn't ask for a new logo? Yeah, I like the new logo. And Dragan is also chiming in. Given all this information about AIOs, do you think the affiliate business model will cease to exist? What do you think?
It's a good question. Hi, Dragan, by the way. Thanks for joining. I think affiliates will be taken over by OpenAI and Alphabet. Probably not. I think OpenAI is going to go for that. I think Alphabet just destroys the intermediary business models, and affiliates will they will go to social media and to YouTube and all these kind of platforms. But I think that Google search affiliate, unless you're super black hat, I know a lot of these black hats and they're making a lot of money. So if that's what you're doing,
Joe, sorry for putting you. I just clicked the wrong link. That had nothing to do with talking about black hats making a lot of money. Sorry, that was a mistake.
It happens.
What?
Those accidents sometimes.
Maybe Joe didn't even notice because he's like busy like counting money. It's like
burning money,
like listening to our show while he's counting the money. So.
Yeah, you have to count it and then burn it so you have more space for the other money that comes in.
But Dragan, also great question. But I think we all have the same feeling, right? Also, I don't think affiliate is going to go away, right? But I think in the current form, because it's just it doesn't make a lot of sense. David also has something to say. I tested a site operator on WebGuide and it actually worked. Doesn't work on AI mode and AI overviews. Oh, that's interesting. It's very interesting. Interesting find. David always has interesting finds. As you need to follow this guy on LinkedIn, by the way. As not you probably also follow him already as well.
Of course.
But you got to follow this guy on LinkedIn. He has a lot of stuff. He just plays around. There's a lot of like hacking here and there, and finds a lot of interesting stuff. So follow this guy, David Konitsky, on LinkedIn.
Smart.
Of course. Right on. Next up, I want to promote something to this point. And I want to also, like what Google says, right? Flawed methodology. We're talking about 68,000 Google searches by 900 US adults, right? This is still a very small sample. And also, what are these 69,000 Google searches? And I want to give you a very interesting perspective. And this is actually from Hans, who we got in the chat here. Hans, where is it? Here is it.
Where is Hans? Here.
Yeah, here is it. All right, let's talk about it. I know it's in German, but it's so smart, and I think it fits right in here. He has he analyzed basically the Nutzungsverhalten, the usage of JetGDP, and he says that it's not like regular search. Like JetGDP prompts are like more like real sentences, or they are also referring to what I have previously, as basically I continue my journey, so to speak, right? Because there's a lot of one-word prompts. So weiter, go on, right? And this is something though, because I asked him to do some research, and then I'm like, go on, or Zusammenfassung, give me a Zusammenfassung, eine
summary.
Thank you very much. Explain this to me. Make it shorter. Continue. Make it a list. Can you begründen? Can you
justify?
What are the I can't speak English anymore. in German.
It's a beer from your birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Quellen, the sources. Right? Optimize, alternatives, right? So you have a lot of prompts which are basically like sensitive to what you were searching before, that has something to do with what you were searching before. And this is basically, it's not a new search, right? It's not even a refined search. It's basically like, it is a refined search. In that sense. And then you also have like 2-word prompts, right? Erzähl mehr, tell me more about it. Please make it shorter. By the way, with please, also very good to please the AI overlords when you're asking for something. Sorry for the balloons here. Begründe das, give an explanation, tell me the context, make it simpler. And this is a lot of these queries you just never, as you couldn't do before, right? As these are a lot of queries that also go in these kinds of analyses, which are basically not searches. They're basically just commands, right? within your search experience, so to speak. You're just commanding to do it different or otherwise or whatever, right? And this is something where we need to be really careful about, like putting everything into one basket, because this is really like apples and oranges. And if you're not making a fruit salad, right, it won't help you by just counting the apples. Did that make sense?
I
It
don't
makes
know.
sense in my head.
It's a cool analogy. It's a cool analogy, but I'm not exactly
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Let me see. I have to translate that. Oops. My finger slipped. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Kaffee Meow. Yeah, Rüdiger, thank you very much. I think this is why it's called conversational. Yeah, but this is exactly the fact. And as he said, 85% of all prompts are de facto long tail, right? Because they're it's so crazy. So I think we got to be very careful with these kinds of analysis, especially also with a smaller sample. But nevertheless, I mean, it shows a little bit of what we've all been thinking, right?
What's important is that they didn't just look at the keywords, but they looked at the search behavior of these people, right? And so it doesn't sound like it's a full usability study where they recorded the screens of the people, but they got access to what these people did. And that is a different thing than just looking at 70,000 keywords in a spreadsheet and then making conclusions, right? So I do think there actually is more to this study than Google tries to make it seem. I think Google tries to make it seem like it's not representative and just keywords, right? But it's not that true. So I think this hits a nerve for Google because there's some truth to it.
But again, release the Epstein files. Give us the UTM source. Really, I mean, like it's the same thing. Just go for it. Just you can prove that it's not like this. There's another interesting study about Google CTRs. Google CTRs are crashing. Position number 1, CTR down 32% post AI overview rollout. And these they actually did a study over 200,000 keywords, so a lot more. And you can really see ranking position number 1 dropped from 28% to 19%, while that position 2 dropped from 20.83 to 12.6 from 2024 to 2025. That's massive. That's across the board, 200,000 keywords, right? But by the way, positions 6 to 10 increased. I mean, like, obviously, if I didn't find anything up there, right, this is really not what I'm looking for. I might be more inclined to click a little bit more further down the page. But this is really, really interesting. He goes also like in the way of like showing, okay, how the sub layout have changed, and obviously what might have been an impact to this. And here's the whole list, right? This looks really pretty dire, right? Also, like, especially look into the future, because I mean, it's probably just going to get worse, right? I mean, it's
that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? Like if you look at the Pew study and these results, and I came to the same conclusion also in my usability study. So there is more overlap now between studies, and there's always a sign that there's some truth to it. We're trending towards 50% of organic traffic, right? And I think it's going to be even less than that in the next couple of years. So, Marcus, do you have any clients or companies you work with that are predicting a growth in traffic for next year?
No, I don't work with lobotomized customers. No, I don't think so. I mean, like if you talk to a Reddit, maybe. Although I mean, I think they're also peak traffic right now. But I think this is actually a good question. Nobody is really. I think I'm trying to think of a site, right, which could like justifiably say, I believe we can have more traffic in the next year, but I don't think so. I mean, like besides Google-owned properties like a YouTube or something like this, right? But with a normal site, I really, guys listening here, does anybody in chat put it into the comment? Does anybody think of a site, no Google property, which could legitimately say, hey, I think next year we're gonna have 30% more traffic? Can anybody think of a site who could legitimately say that? It's hard, right?
I don't think there is one. None of my clients. I mean, I try to also bring them away from setting traffic goals. I think it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where they really wanted to do,
YouTube.
like,
Thanks,
YouTube. Yeah, YouTube for sure. And if they really want to set traffic goals for whatever reason, And what we do is we project the decline forward, and we say if we decline at a lower rate, we're doing a good job. But nobody projects flat or upward. That's
pretty depressing, by the way. I was really like, oh, hey, we have been decreasing at a lower rate.
That's what happens when you have a consolidating industry, and that is what's happening. At the other hand, though, I think it's important to understand that that does not mean we cannot influence users in their purchase journey. And that's going to be the key, but it's also going to be much harder to measure.
Absolutely. But this is what we got to focus on. Yeah. The age of traffic is gone. Yeah. Legitimately.
Gone.
All right. Let's see. Google did a great event, the APAC event, and obviously released a lot of interesting stuff besides new logos. There's a Google Trends API. This is really breaking news. Right now, it's just an alpha, but really exciting news, I think, for SEOs, for journalists, for everyone. Google Trends, great tool. And we finally got an API. That's really cool. Thanks so much. Have you played around with it already?
It's you have to apply as an alpha tester. So I applied, but I don't have access yet. But I think it's cool. Like I wish they wouldn't normalize the values. That is always what throws people off. Yeah. But to monitor trends over time, also at scale, I actually think it's quite useful. There's some things you have to pay attention to, like if you only look at web results or also video results, right? This is also a bit interesting for YouTube topic monitoring. And if you look at a search term or an entity, so there are some traps here, but generally I think this is good data, and this is helpful to just understand how topics are trending. Apart from Keyword Planner, right? And let's not forget, Keyword Planner was made for advertising, not for SEO.
Yeah.
And we rely on so much data from Keyword Planner. So I think this is useful, and I want to play around and build maybe a little spreadsheet or something where I can start monitoring topics over time, so that I can recommend my clients to invest in the topics that are maybe still small, but they're trending up, as opposed to the topics that are already competitive.
Great stuff. By the way, Olaf is saying it depends. When transactional queries are not touched in the future, could be. Yeah, as I mean, he's still talking about this is where Google monetizes right now, and obviously they're not touching these. Like, oh no, touch these. We make a lot of money with this, right? So they don't want to give that to Amazon. And Rüdiger says, yeah, but at the moment the trust for a varied SERP with products and pricing is still with Google, in my humble opinion. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it will be very interesting to see. And by the way, talking about seeing, I see we have only like 15 minutes left, and I get a lot of topics to go through. So let's make a little bit of a speed round. What else do we have? Google says you don't need AEO or GEO to rank in AI overviews. Yeah, you just need SEO. Thank you very much, Gary Ilyish, for making that clear. I mean, I like the GEO term. It makes a lot of sense because it gives like the sense of like you really do a little bit something different for a different type of search, right? Nevertheless, I still consider myself an SEO. And yeah, Gary Ilyish said, hey, yeah, you need an SEO and nobody else. That's it. Thank you very much. Then we got the earnings call. We just had a Q2 earnings call. Very good. Champagne all around in the Google office. As you said before, standout quarter again. And we always wonder, right? I mean, like, they put so much stuff in there and they're not monetized yet. And nevertheless, they make much more money. And double-digit revenue growth. Congratulations. That's pretty impressive feat for what's going on right now. And obviously also YouTube soaring. I think I saw a statistic that more people are now watching YouTube than like traditional TV or something like this. Also, yeah, well done. I just remember like what was it, the Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, when YouTube was sold, and he said anybody who buys YouTube is a moron. Yeah, that didn't age well. Yeah. By the way, Roy, I prefer SEO, but now Google states this. I reconsider. No, you stay SEO, Roy. You're a great SEO. You stay SEO. I prefer SEO optimist. That's also very nice.
All right.
Very cool, Dragan. Right on. So it was a good quarter for them, and they're also going to invest a lot more in AI. Who would have thought? And yeah, all around good quarter. Then I have your growth memo post, topic first, SEO, the smarter way to scale authority, to go more a little bit into the practical side. I got a couple more articles about this. Do you want to give us a quick overview about what people expect from this article?
Yeah, totally. So the whole point is that, in this new world of AI and query fan outs, etc., it's so much more important to think about topics rather than keywords. There's obviously a whole approach about what that means. I have like a follow-up article also to like walk you through it step by step. But long story short, right? Like you want to basically think about what are all the important subtopics of a topic. Like within SEO, it could be technical SEO, it could be link building, it could be content optimization. Like those are all subtopics, and you want to think about how can you first of all cover all of these topics with the utmost depth. Then two, how can you monitor your performance in these topics? And we all use and are used to keyword ranks and that kind of stuff. But I think there's other ways to do this, like your traffic share within a certain topic. And again, I walk you through how to do all of that. So not going to spend too much time here, but check it out. I also have like more and more user input here from LinkedIn. I'm gathering more opinions and smart takes from all the smart people on LinkedIn. So give it a shot.
No wonder I'm not there. Yeah.
You didn't comment.
Oh, is that another smart?
I'll call you next time. I'll call you.
Right on. And talking about this, we have Dwayne Forrester also with a great article here on Search Engine Journal, Beyond Fan Out, Turning Question Maps into Real AI Retrieval. And I really want to highlight this post. Dwayne does a great job here to go beyond. I mean, like everybody has heard query fan out now, right? But he also takes a stab at chunk testing, vector storage, trust signals, right? I mean, Dwayne, obviously very experienced format, the Matt Cutts of Bing, right? I mean, like when Matt Cutts was at Google, he was sort of like the same as Bing. So he has a lot of experience in this, and he did a great article basically explaining all these concepts. And I think in also a very practical, not just a theoretical way, but also like very practical way on SEO, what you need to do and what you need to focus on. So this is a great article here by Dwayne, and I really want to recommend it to you. So you should definitely give it a read. And this one is awesome. Actually just found this today, uncovering Google's career expansion system and a mysterious scoring layer. What these guys did, basically they had the chance to basically see the query fan out in Google's own systems. And this is so interesting, right? So for example, they take the query tallest building in the world, right? And you see every one of these words, basically tallest, you can say highest, right? The highest tall buildings, then buildings, structure, tower, skyscraper, tall buildings, tower, world, earth, global, right? So basically, like, this is what you ask. I have a lot of synonyms, right? And they're basically like not as before, right? Also, like it's always been, right? You search for specific keywords and Google will search for these keywords, right? This is why white font on white background used to work so well. But this is not the case anymore, right? Now, basically, vectors are a much better way to find the most relevant sites. And here, I think it's very interesting, besides just a query fan out, to also see how Google is basically like trying to apply concepts to specific words to basically like really get the full perspective and basically not miss maybe interesting conversation. Also here, nail salon, Fort Lauderdale, 17th Street, where they, for example, also also here, 7th Avenue, 8th Road, streets around. You can see with every little detail how they're like expanding it, that they really first understand it really well and also get all the different variants. But that someone is just not writing exactly these words, but it might be super relevant for them. Here, skydiving in Miami Beach, right, where they even expanded to South Florida, right? Although I just asked for Miami Beach, but they give that additional information, extended the query with it to get a better result. right? How to build a sandcastle, DUI, building, construct, create, develop, establish, form, right? This is so interesting, right? Also besides just query fan out, just how how Google is doing this. Also this is a great article. You should really check it out. Not that we are like amazed how it works, right? But I think their study is really interesting and gives a lot of more insights about how my search query is getting processed. Very interesting. And by the way, talking about chunks, our good friend Dan Petrovic has a nice little tool where you basically can create chunks. You can put text in there, like your content in there, and it will chunk it up. And I think this is a nice way to basically, before you maybe release an article, right? Do it before to maybe like see, is this chunk the correct way? Is this like really have I done it basically from the structure correctly? So a great little tool here from Dan Petrovic. Thanks so much. And talking about Dan, he also had a very cool article about human-friendly content is AI-friendly content. Who would have thought? This is why Google is not saying, hey, we're not going to penalize AI content because, if it's human-friendly, it's also AI-friendly, right? And he really goes into this rabbit hole of what do humans and AI have in common, right? And it's really striking parallels in attention and information processing. For example, also these attention patterns, right? Human LLM, it's not that different, right? Also how basically it's also skimming through the things and trying to find the most interesting things and that kind of thing. I mean, like it goes into all depth, and obviously it goes totally off the rails because it's a post from Dan Petrovic. Who would have thought, right? But I thought a very interesting perspective and maybe worth a read if you want to dig a little bit deeper. Then we have a interesting study from AirOps, and they analyzed 12,000 URLs. And they basically like ask themselves what really makes content citation worthy in AI search. And who would have thought using rich multi-type schema increases your chance of AI citations by 30%, right? Also basically, like we always say schema all the things, but basically it's about structure, being able that the search engine is able to really deconstruct that article to really understand what does what mean, and especially applying this metadata helps the search engine so much in really understanding what these what data is actually on these pages. You have well-structured heading hierarchies, and this also goes into the chunking and everything that you have like really it's well structured. It can be easily digested and understood how the whole article is built up. And content that contains clear, easy to read sections drive nearly half of AI citations. Who would have thought, right? If you write something very easy for the people, that people will like it, right? Not like Dan, writing super complicated. And well, you're not getting cited a lot in AI overview. No, just kidding. But this, I think, is a very interesting study again, and it goes into this what we've been saying all along. It is classic SEO. This is what gets you over the finish line. Like all the best practices we've been teaching, like for the last decade, right? Finally come into play and really might give you an edge over your competitor because you do it better. And there's another good article that builds on this, and this is from Jono, Why Semantic HTML Still Matters. And he really, that's a very, also, yes, the word again.
Ja,
Genau. Also er bricht eine Lanze nochmal. Also
it's a gosh, yeah, how do you say that? It's a breakthrough. It's a statement. It's gosh. Welcome to the
I go into it. By the way, good point here from Olaf. Structure is often misunderstood as structured data. Yeah, it's not especially explicitly about structured data. It's about good structure of the article. Thank you very much. And by the way, Dragan is asking about Movera. We had just 2 more minutes. The guy that commented after you, Olaf, contact Olaf. He knows a lot about Movera. Really, let us finish up here. But Dragan, contact Olaf. He knows a lot about Movera, probably more than 1% of SEOs in the world. And I really like this article from Jono because he really, also underlines the importance of having a good structure, good semantic HTML. It's not just about like writing pretty code or something like this. This is really adding metadata, helping LLMs, helping search engines to better understand your content, right? And this will help you in AI overviews. And let me just jump to the end. Again, super long. Yeah, this isn't nostalgia. This is infrastructure, right? This is really great. Yeah, also like the point, right? We don't just do this because, oh, this is how it needs to be done, how we do it. No, this is infrastructure. This is super important. And also the search engines would have much easier life if every website would be doing this, right? But actually the whole clusterfuck we have is due to the, just the randomness of websites and how they're coded. Oh yeah, then we have proof from Ray Martinez that log file analysis shows that OpenAI crawls LLM as TXT file, and not just crawls them, it's pinging our servers every 15 minutes looking for freshness. So yeah, there might be live for LLMs.txt. We had that great article about from Carolyn Shelby on Search Engine Land last week. And this goes into this as well. So I think if you really think about also offering a LLM as TXT file to the search engines, could be helpful in the future. Then great article from Lily, AI search is booming, but SEO is still not dead. Of course it's not dead. I'm still here. Great article. She really goes into depth. Why, of course, we're all talking about AI overview, but it's really about SEO who are, destined to lead the transformation here. I love this article from Lily. Great article. Thanks so much. Then here, ChatGPT usage surges to 2.5 billion daily prompts as AI tool becomes mainstream. This is also so interesting. We could talk so long just on this article alone, because this basically says like, oh, ChatGPT is already at 20% of Google, almost, right? You'd think. But of course, I mean, we just had it, what Hans said earlier, right? There's a lot of prompts that go into this, a lot of like prompts that are not like the classic searches. So this is like the classical apples versus oranges. You just can't compare them. You can't compare 2.5 billion daily prompts to daily searches done on Google. This is really a completely different thing. But there have been reports where people like basically take this and as verbatim and say like, oh yeah, ChatGPT is already at 20% of Google. That's not true, not at all. But nevertheless, still very impressive growth for ChatGPT. Give me a quick soundbite on this stat, because I think it's so interesting.
It is super interesting. And so it is interesting because right now in ChatGPT, we learned from SEMrush data, for example, that 30 to 70%, depending on the data source you look at, of the prompts they're having a generative intent, right? So people want to create an image or a spreadsheet or whatever. And so you could argue that only a small fraction of prompts are actually searches and therefore compete with Google. At the same time, though, Google is becoming more of a ChatGPT with AI mode, etc. Right? So they are converging more onto the same level. And so I think in a year, when we compare the prompt volume on both of these platforms, it's going to be much more comparable than it is today. Right now, it just shows the insane growth of ChatGPT. It's probably the fastest growing product of all times, software product. And the demand is massive, right? So again, will be more comparable in the future. Today, still a bit wonky, but it's crazy to see.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's look at the referral traffic. Here we are also on Siege Media. Very interesting. He actually saw a surge in AI-driven traffic. You can see a lot more traffic coming from ChatGPT right now, but obviously you have a lot more people searching for ChatGPT, and even if not a lot of people click through, it's still, we say, Kleinvieh macht auch viel Mist. I can't say this in English. I don't know. I mean, like, this is just like the side effect of the incredible rise of ChatGPT, that obviously is going to be sending a lot more traffic. By the way, nudging them again, release a webmaster tools would be awesome. We SEO webmasters would love that. Then, yeah, but talking about referrals, AI chatbot frequently get login URLs wrong, Netcraft warns. 34% of login URLs suggested by AI could lead to phishing or unrelated sites. That is crazy. There's an example in here where they sent them to, they wanted to log in at Wells Fargo. By the way, how lazy are you that you have to, again, I mean, this costs so much like CO2 and energy, right? But you ask ChatGPT, hey, how do I log into Wells Fargo? Dude, what? Normal navigational search in Google or just bookmark? What? Okay, whatever. But nevertheless, ChatGPT didn't send them to the Wells Fargo login page. They sent them to sitesgoogle.com, view Wells Fargo logins home. That sounds legit. Totally legit. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like, great for scammers. We had these examples where people are actually like also getting domains, also like registering domains that ChatGPT is proposing and stuff like this. But this is getting out of hand because this is 1/3 of all queries, right? I mean, it's great that you get click outs, but it should be to the real page.
It's a massive disaster. By the way, we have so much in the show, Marcus. Should we maybe park and save some of these findings for next week?
I don't think so, because I don't think these are like super. Let's see what I have. I mean, we can talk about this from Hans. Okay.
Client meeting.
Okay, this we can also do next year. Why I'm betting against AI agents in 2025. Very interesting. Ex-Google engineer launches Athena for AI search visibility. We have a lot of startups right now, lots of funding. And this is coming from a Google product manager. Again, this is nothing we have to talk about next week. This is also nothing we have to talk about next week. It's just a great article. Just want to give a shout out. It's about a very comprehensive article about how to really use alt text. Still super important also for usability issues, for people that maybe can't see, stuff like this. For screen readers, super interesting, super important. And it's a massive, great article, well researched about with the alt text. Just good shout out here to MSIV. We have a very interesting A/B testing study, again, by Search Pilot. Does vehicle listing schema improve search visibility? What do you think?
I would say no.
No, a little bit. But it is inconclusive, because I mean, like, you could think that Google has just gotten better, has gotten so much better without even schema, right? So it's not really that important, but nevertheless, I would still do it. Schema all the things, as Jonah likes to say, and I'm saying this as well. Then we have here, very interesting, there's a new version of PNG which is finally challenging AVIF and WebP for image dominance on the web. New version with also HDR support, animated PNGs. So the newest version of PNG, yeah, might be a new player. Then Google launches entertainment division with slate of tech-positive films and TV projects. What? Yeah, maybe we can talk about this next week. But there's not really much to talk about, because there's only like one project they funded so far. But they want to like basically produce more tech-positive, AI-positive movies. So that people are not scared of the AI overlords or something like this. I don't know. Interesting perspective. And this is also very interesting. Google is using 2 billion Android phones to detect earthquakes worldwide. Wow, really crazy, but great use case. You know, if you have 2 billion Android phones at your hand and you get that data, great to use them for stuff like this, actually detecting earthquakes, alerting people of a incoming or an earthquake that is happening right now. So this is very good what Google is doing right there. Again, this is we don't need to talk about it next week, and we can talk about this next week if you like to. But
let's definitely save it for next week.
Let's put this in next week. This and the AI agents. I'm going to note that down for next week. And it's been a long show again. Sorry, it is so much, and I'm always amazed how every week you will have so much. I like really content that we can really talk about and we really discuss, right? I mean, before we started that show, you would have thought, oh, there's only like little things coming out. It's so much, so much we have to talk about. And this is why we're doing 3 or 2 of a kind. And this is why we're so happy that you guys are listening to us here at 3 or 2 of a kind. We love doing the show for you. And we would like to see you again next week, 4 p.m. Next week at 4 p.m. for our next show. It would be great if you would join us again. Thanks so much, Kevin. I know it's been a lot again, but thanks so much for being here. Thanks everyone for being in the comments, discussing with us. That's really great. It was so great seeing all you guys, and we hope to see you again next week. And now we're gonna temporarily redirect you from work to the weekend. Have a great weekend, everyone, and hope to see you next week at Friday. See you then. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Keep on waving.